Wait, welcome to the X podcast, where conversation is king, and apparently I say welcome weird. How are you?
Well, welcome.
How
Good to have you.
Looking good in the denim?
In the denim? Black denim?
Black denim. You
Yep.
always say dress to impress. There's
That's
no
right.
other way to less.
I have never said that, but that's okay.
So,
Oh, how are you
yeah.
doing?
I'm doing well. It is rainy and cold outside.
Yes, today has not been a good day.
It is
weather-wise.
not been. Are you going to the pumpkin show in Circleville?
It has been brought up, but I don't know that I am.
I'm supposed to go tonight.
Are you really?
But it's supposed
I think
to
a lot
rain.
of people were supposed to go tonight, but
I
now
know.
now it's going to be rainy and gross. So
Been here 4
maybe
years.
Friday.
Wherever you're tuning in from, fairs and festivals are
They're
huge
big, yeah.
in Ohio. Huge.
Yeah, individual town festivals and fairs are.
Went to
like
Lancaster Fair last.
Yeah, that was
Had an
interesting,
interesting
wasn't it?
altercation, and
Yeah.
it was a fun night though. It was very fun. But you and I were texting last night a little bit, kind of, a little debating about the weather right now because,
It's not much to debate.
well, the debate.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But as far as the enjoyability and the reception of it,
Okay.
um,
I love fall.
so
You don't.
No, I
You were
love.
talking about how you hate fall. You hate when it's like
not true.
68 degrees and sunny
No.
and it's beautiful out and
No.
low humidity.
No.
You were telling me how much you hate it.
These are all lies. I love
the sun.
fall. It comes with a warning label here.
That's the part.
So, but fall in the Midwest and the North
Yes.
comes with a warning label.
Yes, it does.
Which is you have just entered Disneyland, but you don't know what ghost is waiting behind that couch.
Yes.
And
What awful ride you're about to
But
get on.
I've enjoyed it even more than usual here until this week.
Yeah.
So last week, depending on when you listen to this, I mean it's
had
early to mid October,
we've had beautiful
sunny,
weather.
60 to 70 degrees.
Love it.
And then this week it's been low 40s and raining.
Yeah.
And so
It's actually only doing it for a couple days. It's supposed to go back up. It's supposed to be in the 70s.
well, and
we
what's-
have almost the
what's
same
crazy
weather.
is you and I are getting
here.
ready to fly to Atlanta
Yeah,
to be
for-
with a mutual friend in his church, and usually
Same
going to,
weather.
I know.
I'm like, what
Usually
is this?
Flying to Atlanta is usually a reprieve, but I've been seeing on social media all my friends in Atlanta just dying. Inside.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dying.
It's
Dramatic.
72 degrees, and they're
Yes.
just like, it's so awful.
Yes. So I want to have a conversation that, depending on where you're at in the country, may not
Yeah.
resonate as deeply with you.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're listening to this and you're in Texas or
San
you're on
Diego.
one of the southwest or southeast coasts, you may not understand the severity of what we're about to talk about. And
You know
kinda
there
laugh
are
at this
there
concept.
are people who actually enjoy it.
Well, I do know that.
I know several people that love it. They look forward to winter. They love the winter season.
Yeah.
We
pray for
I
you.
can
We-
no. I don't mind. I don't mind a little bit of the cold. I like all the seasons, but usually by mid to late January, I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
Like I'm good with it for a little bit. I've liked snow skiing. I like going snow skiing. Have you ever
Yeah.
been snow skiing since you've been here? Do you
Not
know
since
how
I've
to
been
s-
here.
Do you know how to ski?
I've been in snow.
Have you ever been in snow? Have you ever seen it before? It's like
Okay.
little white flakes that come down.
I've lived here 4 years.
Okay, yeah, you've
I
seen
lived
it.
in Lexington 5 years.
Oh yeah.
I've been.
Did you
in
ever go
snow.
ski?
I've been snow tubing and boarding. I think, but I don't know if I've been snow skiing.
snow
It's so
skiing.
it's so weird because I've gone to
Skiing's better.
Denver, which you would think like snow capital of the world, or not the world, but of maybe the states. But I've been there every year the last 20 years and never been skiing. It's like on my bucket list.
you
I've
go in the
still never
winter?
been skiing, but that's part of it. I've
in the
usually only
summer.
gone in the summer and
Yeah,
spring.
it's kind of hard to ski
Yeah.
in the summer there.
But if you go early spring in Aspen, you could, you know, you still
They already have snow, I think, certain places up in the mountains.
yeah.
I like a little bit of the winter. I'm with you on the one part that there's something in the atmospheric current
Yeah.
that happens here that we get into winter and it could sometimes be gray for days.
Oh,
There's
days.
a cloud coverage,
Weeks.
and I don't know, it has something I think to do with the jet stream.
Yeah.
And when the jet stream goes up into the Arctic, or no, comes down. Sorry, dips down. If you're looking at a map, I'm looking at a weatherman. Dips down. You know, by the way, I was listening to the radio and somebody was asking this really good question. Why do we need weathermen anymore?
That's true. Yeah, there's not really a reason, huh?
I mean,
that's a good.
does
that's
anybody
a good
sit
point.
there and go listen to the news in the morning just waiting for the weather person to get on there so they can tell you?
Just look on
that-
your-
yeah, why wouldn't you just look on your phone? So much easier.
That's very true.
But when you see the Arctic dip, like in the jet stream, come down below out of Canada, Michigan, Ohio, that's when it brings the cold, and it seems to also bring clouds. There's something about it. It gets cloudy.
I have this curse. I don't know if I mentioned on here before that whenever I've moved to a new state, the first year there is always the extreme of what they've had.
Right.
So I moved to Lexington, and the first year I was there, it was the largest ice storm they'd had in 9 years. My car was frozen to the ground for days. No exaggeration.
serious?
Half our team that moved up there to plant the church had to get hotels because their power went out.
And you were from the South, so you didn't know what to do.
Yes, but speaking of snow, when I moved back to the South, when I moved to Atlanta, 2014 was what they jokingly called the snowpocalypse, where a blizzard hit
4 inches,
and the mayor didn't know, just made a really bad call, and they dismissed everybody from. Imagine this, Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta, this huge area. Everybody was dismissed from work and school at the same time. It ended up in this huge catastrophe of people. I mean, people
Wrecks
died.
all over the.
People died. Like, they
Really?
got stranded, and it was just the.
All for like 3 inches of snow.
Oh,
That's
it
so
was more than
crazy.
that. And then
Sorry.
I moved here, and supposedly when I moved here, that first year
It
was the most rain that
was.
they'd had in 100 years. It was rainier than it was
That
in
was the
Seattle that year.
year-
It was the year of the polar vortex, where literally it was colder one day here than Antarctica.
We were that year, if I recall. Wait, you came in
So
18?
gray. September 2018.
Yeah, that was the year we were going to try to start our building project, and we could not get it started.
Because so
And
much
it was,
rain.
I think we were within like 1 inch of being the wettest year on record. You missed most of it because you didn't get here till fall. We were within 1 inch of
Well,
the wettest
I
record in
felt
that.
it.
So yeah, it was.
So what surprised me here, and I'm going somewhere. If you listen to this, you like don't care. The reason is I thought to myself that moving back farther north wasn't going to be as big of a deal because when I lived in Lexington, Kentucky is very seasonal. They get snow 3 months a year.
Yep.
The same. But it was a little bit more bitter cold, but the biggest thing was the gray.
Yeah.
And it almost became like this bad nightmare of a joke. I think I told you, but multiple times I remember literally flying back to Atlanta or Greenville, somewhere back in the southeast. I'd be flying back, 3-hour flight, sunny the whole way, literally with only 15 minutes left in the flight. They would come on and say, we're beginning our descent, and it would turn gray. Just as we got over Columbus, it would turn gray. It would be sunny for 3 hours.
Wait. What do you mean sunny for 3 hours?
Like, there's certain times I would fly, depending on the connecting flight, I'd be flying back from southeast. It'd be like 2 to 3 hour flight.
And it would be sunny the whole time.
And it'd be sunny the whole time.
You know why that is? You do know why that is. You know it's because you were flying above the clouds.
No, that's not it.
No, you were flying above the clouds.
No, that's not it.
You were 35,000 feet. You're above the clouds.
No, but what I'm telling you is there's plenty of times that I have started somewhere, taken off and it's sunny, flown over skies that are sunny,
and then
landed
and
and it's sunny.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the reason why it was sunny for 3 hours is because you were above the clouds. Then you got to Ohio and you had to come under the clouds, and the blanket, the white soft blanket of cloud cover, that caused it to be
That's not
gray.
it. This has never happened until now. I'm telling you, it's gray.
There's
It's gray.
a real reason for that. But
Gray
when
skies.
there's a reason for the gray skies, and there's a reason why it was sunny the whole flight.
No,
but when you landed, it was gray.
sunny when I took off.
Because you were in the
And
southeast and they didn't have the cloud coverage like we did because you hit the jet stream on your way. I'm just telling you.
You're not really.
I'm telling you. I went to weather school.
You did not. You did
Okay,
not.
I didn't go to weather school, but
And according to you, there's no reason for them anymore.
for what? There's no. That's why the weather school shut down.
Yeah.
I was going to, and they
So
shut down on me.
What I want to talk about is for those of you that don't love winter. or
my
even-
wife does not.
Okay.
She.
So she's normal human.
Yeah, she is.
I'm just kidding. For anybody listening that loves winter,
I like winter. I don't love gray all the time.
Look,
I would be happy if it was sunny and snow at times, and sometimes it is, but that's rare.
Look, and all hyperbole aside, I'm not going to just say I hate winter. I think it's unnatural to hate all the seasons. All the seasons have something beautiful about them.
Yeah.
There's beauty in the winter. There's beauty in the different dynamics of spring, of summer, of fall, and then winter and the holidays that it brings.
I love the feel of
warmth that it
Christmas when
brings,
it's cold out.
Christmas.
Lights.
There's fun. I mean, it sounds kind of superficial, but I love the clothing of fall and winter.
I do. My favorite.
You get really excited about pumpkin spice lattes in the fall.
Yeah, that's probably not true.
And then the white chocolate peppermint mochas from Starbucks. You come in and want with every single day during December. It's kind of like your tradition. Always have an eggnog day, early January.
See, this is the kind of stuff where people will understand that you're lying most of the time.
But I want to talk about with the weather, especially here, beginning to change.
It is starting to turn
the
now.
winter blues. I saw a stat.
Is that why you wore a blue shirt?
It is.
Okay.
I saw a stat. There's the official SAD, seasonal affective
Yeah.
disorder, It says
I think my wife has that.
at least over 3 million people suffer from it.
Oh, my.
So I don't know exactly.
That's pretty much almost a pandemic.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that entails of how you're even diagnosed with that. But suffice it to say,
You kind of get depressed a little bit every winter.
Yes. Suffice it to say, and they say really this only starts after year 14.
After what?
Year being 14 years old. 14 and older.
Really?
They say it really doesn't affect
Maybe
people
that's
until
why
they're
it
14
doesn't
or
bother
older.
me.
Yeah.
I still act like I'm under 14.
Yeah.
My wife is one that I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there are probably levels. We don't want to make fun. I'm sure there are levels where people really are drastically
According to the
impacted
definition,
by
it
sad.
can affect your
But I think a lot of people-
health, your sense of well-being, your energy, your mood,
yes.
your depression.
It's real. It's
Yes.
real. And then there's just some people who are sad. You see what I did
That's
there?
what you did there.
So, some people are just sad because of the weather's not sunny. And my wife is one of those that she every winter, she hates cold. She wants summer. She'll be fine if it was summer year round. And so she would be one that I think I've noticed that we always have to do some things. We have to do some things to try to help course correct for her winter blues.
Well, I want to hear. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, in case you're listening,
Yeah.
well, this is going to be maybe a briefer, more practical one. What can we do? What does a winter blues survival kit look like? Cold weather survival kit. What can you do? Because you know what's interesting is that also happened when I moved here that didn't happen when I moved to Lexington as much. Is I remember Jesse, who's on our team, he told me, he said, I'm telling you, there's a hibernation mode thing that happens here.
Yeah.
He said, when you get in fall and winter, people want to huddle up. They want to hibernate. And that's real. I remember, like, my first winter here, and you kind of adjust the longer you live somewhere.
Huddle or cuddle?
Probably both.
Okay.
But my first winter here, I remember I was like, oh, there's so many days where I'm like, to sit in the car and talk myself into getting back in the cold, into my car, warming it up, and driving to the gym. Like, it is a struggle to, like, to not hibernate instead of go out and do things
I don't understand
here
that.
in the winter. You
You
don't?
No, I'm going to go to the gym. But
Well, I mean, I still do.
I did to do things.
Yeah.
It is definitely easier, I think, in the summer when it's beautiful out and it's light out late.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean to an extent. There's something about, I think, it's two-part. One, it gets dark super early.
Yes.
And it happens in winter. And when you're further away from the equator, you're going to experience it more. So it gets dark. And when it gets dark by 5:30, 6 o'clock, you feel like it's time to go in for the night.
Yeah.
And you kind of stop running. And, I mean, we're sitting there, and it's like, do you want to go to the store? I'm like, oh, gosh, it's so late. Look at Oh, it's 7:30.
Yeah.
I know, but it's dark out. I feel like it's time
And
to
it's
get
freezing.
It's time to get pajamas on and get in bed.
Pajamas.
Pajamas. Yeah, get your jammers on.
Okay. Not pajamas, but
No.
pajamas?
No pajamas.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Or pajamas. Pajamas.
Okay.
Which one is it? I don't know.
I hear both. I think it's
Okay.
pajamas. but-
Okay. Get your jams on.
Pajamas
See,
sounds
it's a
weird to
jam
me.
jams.
Oh,
Get
jam
your jams.
jams. Wow.
No, wow. I think a couple things. Let me throw out a few. As someone who has spent the majority of his life
But first,
minus 3 years of my life, all of it has lived in colder climates.
let's go on the record, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you, does it?
Not like it affects weaker people. Okay, I'm
should
just
have,
kidding.
You should have seen our text thread. I won't even say when I brought up this topic what you said. I have to keep in mind
I
sometimes
have
when we're
this-
discussing the species of human beings that you're Spock. And that some of the
I,
rules don't apply to robots.
So there are it affects me more the older I've gotten.
Okay.
Well,
turning 60 this year.
Yeah, turning
It's
60. Thank
probably
you.
gonna-
That's good.
you know,
I look good for 60,
you,
don't I?
You're building the bones.
Again, you're lying. So it has affected me probably a little bit more. I get tired of it quicker, but a few things. I don't see. Here's the thing. It doesn't drastically affect me because of probably my rhythms aren't drastically affected by the outside. If I had to work outside for a living, oh my, you'd bet I'd be complaining all this. Like, I mean, but as it stands, I have a house with a little home for my car. It's called a garage. And so it's nice because my car's in there and it's warm. I start it up and I can drive. I actually like driving in winter weather. Snow, I love it. Like,
You'd be surprised. I actually don't mind it.
I
either.
love it. Give me in snow, and
yeah.
it's like I'm kind of juicing it and having fun.
It's
I
actually
say
kinda
that,
fun.
but I do. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And for most part, like I drive to the office and I park my vehicle and I walk 20 paces and I'm inside.
Yeah.
And so if you have an outside job or you're doing something like that, I feel like that's a much harder thing to deal with. And I used to work downtown years ago, and I had to park just to afford it and pay for parking. It was like 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away. So I'd go downtown, park, and then I'd have to walk and go across a bridge, across the Scioto, and all this stuff. And when it's 0 degrees and you're doing that, oh my gosh, it's pretty bad. That's brutal. So, I've experienced a variety of them. I think there's probably a handful of things that you can do that can really change your mindset. Because at the end of the day, you can't change the weather, right? You can't maybe.
Unless you're like Elijah, or people like him.
That's true. There's a possibility, and maybe you tell me you pray all the time 3 hours a day that it won't snow or rain or be cold, and apparently hasn't worked. But but the effective fervent prayer of a righteous man will avail much. Okay, so we're just turning into really bad Bible humor now. So a few things that I think you can do that I've kind of learned.
If you're in a pit with a line on a snowy day,
have made Mark Patterson that have really made a difference. I do think it's a mindset thing. So. Okay. That doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you, but I do think there are some things you can do that help your mindset when you deal with it. First one, I tell you, is this. Okay, I can think of 3 or 4 things right now off the top of my head. We'll just go through them. Okay. You can comment on. First thing is this. You have to embrace dressing properly.
Huh.
If you do not dress properly, okay, so there's something about always feeling cold that makes you miserable. Just in general, being cold. There's something about not having the appropriate gear. I'll give you a great example. My wife and I, for the last several years, have gone to all of the high school football games as my youngest daughter, Audrey, is cheering, who's their senior year. And so we're, every Friday night, sitting in stands, football games, all the way deep into November. Last year was, I think, to almost the last weekend in November. And we've been out there, and it's like 30 degrees, 40 degrees. You're out there for 2.5 hours. We learned that you have to dress properly. We're dressing in layers. We have hand warmers with gloves.
Those don't
warmers.
work.
Huh? They
hand warmers don't work.
Okay, then you don't know that you're supposed to actually kind of shake them up and move them.
I tried that last year on a Christmas float.
Okay, you had a bad. Wait, what did you just say?
It was for.
Did you just say a Christmas float? Why were you in a parade?
It was the Hope Day thing, remember? I think it was one of the Brock Strong ones, or I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, they do work. They make foot warmers that you get them out, you work them out, put them in. I've got them. They're so hot, I have to take them back out of my shoes halfway through because they're so hot.
This is
layers.
The functional, effective side of you. Okay.
You do. You have to. Layers. Like I ignore it. My wife, she is real big into, no, I'm dressing in layers. 3-4 layers on top, 2 layers. We're talking about under long underwear underneath of jeans, whatever, boots, 2 pairs of socks, all this stuff, when you're sitting out in the cold for a long time. And when I kind of finally embraced that, because, I'm kind of like, I don't need that. I got a coat. I'm this and that. And then I'm out there,
jacket over
and I'm
t-shirt.
like, I'm freezing. Can I have that blanket? And then we bring blankets, and you're sticking blankets. And it really did change, the game experience.
That's
we could sit there.
Yeah.
We weren't freezing cold. When you're cold, you're miserable.
Yeah.
And so being cold, miserable. But if we weren't cold, miserable the whole time, you actually could kind of enjoy it a little bit, and it wasn't to be dreaded. So I think you can carry that same thing over. That especially if you're from the South.
That's a really simple but good point.
It is. Dress properly. You don't have a good coat.
This
you
week
don't have gloves.
I've had T-shirts, but I've just started throwing jackets over T-shirts.
Yeah.
And I've been really cold.
Yeah. You need to dress appropriately.
Okay.
Have gloves and some of those things in your pockets or wherever all the time. That stuff can help.
Or dress appropriately. Or what else?
Dress appropriately. Okay, so that's one of them. A second thing that I think is really good, I think you have to find activities that enable you to embrace the climate.
Okay.
So, like, I think, and I've, different places, I think there's something great about it being cold, sometimes even great when it snows around Christmas. There's just something right about white Christmas and all that kind of stuff. When you embrace certain activities with the snow, so what have we done? Well, we've done things like, if you know somebody's got a four-wheeler, taking a four-wheeler with an inner tube, dressing really well when you got all kinds of snow and you're going all over the place and flying, and it's just fun. You pull people on that. Do sledding if you like that. Go skiing. Like we try to go snow skiing once or maybe twice a year. It's a lot of fun. You can go out. If you dress appropriately, you're having a blast. Again, these are things you can't do when when you don't have snow.
Right.
So I think you have to find activities that it will cause you to lean into the season, not try to hide from it all the time.
Yeah, when I was in Lexington, we actually, there's a lot of, it seems like even more than here, there's a lot more places to go snow tubing.
Yeah.
And that was a really big deal. That was always fun. And then one time, me and a friend, we drove, it was like a 4-hour road trip, but we drove to Santa Claus, Indiana.
Okay.
It's the actual official Santa Claus town in the world. Literally, the whole town year-round is decorated like Christmas.
Yeah.
The grocery stores, there's multiple places where they have like 32 frozen chocolate flavors. You can go in place if you're a kid and have them print out like whether you're good or bad, all these kind of things, elves everywhere. You can go sit on Santa's lap year-round. And then this is interesting. Every kid that writes a letter to Santa, there are millions of volunteers that literally will handwrite letters back.
Wow.
From Santa Claus, Indiana, back there.
Wow.
But I agree with you.
You got to
Christmas
embrace some of that.
movies
Go see the lights. There's different
the
places
lights,
around it.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
see the lights at the zoo. Go
Yeah.
to some of the drive places. See some of the lights. Again, that's not going to carry you for all of it, but I think it will help you when the weather starts to turn, like especially in December and and the holidays. Plan things.
Yeah.
Go do stuff.
Yeah.
I think that kind of helps you embrace it. I'd like we go to see the Winter Wonder Lights at the zoo every year. And there's part of me that really doesn't mind if it's cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I dress appropriately, but it feels right. You're getting hot chocolate. They've got, almonds and cashews that are roasted. They've got things like that it just kind of, it gives the holiday vibe, the feeling of it. Again, those are great. So I think that's one. You got to be intentional about finding things to do that embrace the climate. Ice skating.
Yeah.
Have you been ice skating?
Yep. It actually, believe it or not, in downtown Greenville, there's a beautiful area that they convert into a skating rink every year.
Really? Doesn't it melt every week or
No, I don't know how they do it. But,
Yep. But I mean, like ice skating, things like that you can only really enjoy usually in warmer or
You know
cooler
what I started going to last year is I'd never gone before, but professional hockey games.
Oh yeah, Blue Jackets.
I went to
games
4
are
or
here.
5
They're
games.
fun. They're a
so
blast.
fun. Yep.
We talked about going to like a Ohio State basketball game.
Yep.
Again, they're indoor things like that, but if you can find stuff like that, I think it's really good.
Okay, so change your mindset on how you dress. Actually, plan it well,
Plan
do it
well.
appropriately, dress effectively.
Yeah.
Plan activities. What
Yep.
else?
I think another thing that my wife and I have, maybe this has helped. We got a little bit older and maybe a little been able to do this a little more, but we always try to plan at least one getaway trip in the winter.
Yep.
I think that has really made a big difference. Like I can usually go in the cold. Usually there'll be a dip of cold in January, February where it can go sometimes a week, 2 weeks, and it's like when you get those stretches, you're like, okay, I'm really over this.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we can take a short getaway or something to the sun and the warmth, both, you need both, sun and warmth, if you can do that, even if it's 3 days, 4 days, go visit our friends down in St. Pete, go do whatever, there's something about it that does kind of revitalize and re-energize ourselves so that when we get back, I like to do it around, if I can, like mid to end February. Because there's something about getting back, flip the calendar to March, even though March doesn't necessarily mean a warm month here. You start to get some warm days. You get out of the thaw, but it's still got a lot of cold days and some rain in the spring. But there's something about it that gives you this hopeful anticipation that summer's around the corner. And so I think planning a trip or two, I think as our kids are getting older and they get established on their own and begin to do things like that, if we have the opportunity, I would imagine we will be trying to take at least one, if not 2 trips in the winter.
Yep.
And I think doing things like that really make a big difference.
Yeah.
And just overall, attitude.
No, I think that's good. I think, several things you said I think are so good. I think, in fact, on tonight, I think Tommy and Paige and I are going to go to the Pumpkin Festival if it doesn't. If it doesn't
rain out. Rain's not fun. If cold, I don't mind, but
yeah, like my sister texted me the other night and she said, "Hey, late January, just for about 3 days, like long weekend where you can take a day off work. Do you want to come out to Atlanta and plan have like dinner and plan like a brainstorm?" I'm like, absolutely.
Wait, you said Atlanta, not L.A.
Not L.A.
Yeah,
So for
see, that's what
the
you
end of
need.
January. So to have something, if you can save up and
you
have
have
something
something to
like
look
that,
forward
you
to.
can look forward to. I agree, it's huge. Planning ahead, events is huge. I love it. I never thought about the whole. It sounds so simple, but the whole like dressing appropriately.
Get yourself the appropriate things.
A couple like just kind of like maybe niche things that I've done since I've been here is because there is a physiological element of which we need what the sun provides.
Yeah.
There is. When I first got here, I mean, people here would say this, so don't take offense if you're here from here, but people from here would say there is generally people are happier in warm weather states.
Yeah, no, that's kind of a given thing. It's a vitamin D type of sun.
I'm going to start using
Tanning
it.
bed.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to start using it again this week, but I invested in, it wasn't crazy expensive, but an LED alarm sunrise clock.
Yeah.
And instead of having a jolting noise, it literally has like the UV kind of rays. It's actually healthy for you. It's not brash, bright light, but it's like that amber glow.
Yeah.
That it's actually good for your immune system, like good for you neurologically, psychologically,
Yeah.
and it slowly wakes you up. So each winter I start using that again. I think one of the things that is kind of a catch-22 that's really tough is, again, like you said, unless you have to work outside, usually the colder it gets and the darker it gets, the less you're going to be active. And the less you're active, the more depressed you're going to get. So it's, to me, really important to make sure that I'm still, whether it's in the gym or it's indoor
Maybe that's
running
one
or
reason
whatever.
why I'm not as affected by it. Because I keep a
'Cause
pretty consistent
you keep
rhythm
yeah.
of going.
Yeah.
And I want to throw a caveat to that because
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think some of that stuff might be why, because I'm just so rhythm oriented. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I found around here that that has helped, it's interesting to see that when you take away a lot of your outdoor opportunities, it seems that people turn to other things. Like I'll give you a couple examples. First of the year, it's cold as that, but it's also first of the year. Everybody's thinking, get in shape and do this.
Yep.
Well, you can go to the gym and do that stuff. That's where most people do. It's sometimes hard to go to the gym when it's 78 degrees outside and it's beautiful.
It's true.
I kind of, maybe it's just my mindset. I'm more of the mindset on here is like, oh, I don't want to go. I'm like, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
dark and it's cold
Yeah.
out. Go
Yeah.
to the gym where there's lights and it's
Yeah.
warm. And I don't know if that's maybe just the way my mindset is, the way I worked. I also noticed the trend, though, happens here. We work in a church context. We see our highest growth and our highest attendance in the winter.
Yeah, it's true. That surprises me. I noticed that from day one.
But why?
Nothing else to do.
All your other options are gone.
Right.
People that would go, oh, I go to Buckeye Lake for the weekend. Oh, I go camping. I go
Yep.
do this. You can't do those things. So now they're actually attending things that are indoors.
And maybe you're speaking to a little bit also of like, I think it was a Washington Post article I read that actually spoke to how it can be healthy to flow with the natural rhythms of the seasons.
Yeah.
They said, there's something about spring. You're getting out, you're cleaning or whatever. You're starting new things. You're training. You're branching out. Summer, you're enjoying the sun. You're playing. Your vacation.
Fun
I mean,
time.
in general, but in fall, you're getting back into the swing of things. Your sports, all these things. In winter, if you look at it just naturally as it's getting darker, is a time to kind of
Rest.
recoup, to slow down, to rest. And so
Read more.
and say
You're not
read
outside
more.
playing. You can be inside reading.
So almost like with the circadian rhythm of the body, I
Yeah.
wonder if there's naturally built into the seasons,
Yeah.
if you live in a seasonal place,
Yeah.
something that's actually good for the human body if we flow with it. But then I'm curious what you think. I don't know if this is healthy or not, because I think a lot of it too depends, I could be wrong, on the person you are and psychologically where you're at in the season. So I've had seasons where I felt that permission to just kind of flow with the seasons. Then I had a winter about a couple years ago where I don't know if just mentally is coming out of COVID. I took the opposite approach. I don't know if this is healthy, but I fought back. Instead of flowing the season, I fought back. And what I mean is in several ways. Like
Who won?
I think. Well, so I think I told you this. I have fallen in love with running in the sun.
Yeah.
But that year I was like, you know what? It was. I mean, this is not going to sound very proper, so forgive me. But it was almost like my middle finger to winter of what I was of some stuff felt like I was going through mentally and emotionally, and then I was like, no, I'm going to actually fight against. I'm going to fight against what I feel like emotionally this is exacerbating.
Yeah.
And I remember multiple Sundays, multiple days where it was 18 degrees. I remember specifically one Sunday, it was 18 degrees, and I drove down to Scioto, put on a hoodie, and ran for miles. And it was almost like
So you didn't run without your shirt on?
No, I mean, I put a hoodie on.
Okay.
Just so I didn't freeze to death. But I almost had a season where I was like, no, I'm actually going to fight against
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to, like, exercise more. I'm going to get outside more, and I'm going to push against it, and I'm going to – and for that season, it worked.
Yeah.
And so I also think, like,
That's good.
This is – and
You're not fighting against winter. You were fighting against succumbing to what the winter blues would do in you.
Maybe that's it.
Because you
Maybe
can't
that's it.
actually beat winter.
Yeah. I don't
But
know.
you could fight back again. I'm not going to become complacent. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be lethargic.
Right.
I'm not going to just go hole up inside my place and not. You know what I mean?
I'm
do
going to
anything.
create more. I'm going
Yeah.
to exercise more.
Write more.
Write more. I also think – I don't know if you'll relate to this.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably.
being Spock and having a family and all that. But I wonder if anybody would relate to this phenomenon that I feel like I experience, which is when you think about winter, you think about how all the seasons are so different. Winter has this kind of density, I feel like, to it. Like you said, it slows you down.
Yeah.
It feels deeper. It hit me today as I was kind of thinking through, for a few minutes about us talking about this, that if you think about it, almost all of the meaningful holidays are in winter or late fall.
Yeah.
You have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas,
New
you have
Year's.
Valentine's Day, you have New Year's, Halloween. I mean, if you think about it, almost
Fun, exciting.
all of them are in that time. And I feel like, you know how they say money, that there's that myth that money corrupts and makes you evil. And I agree more with the idea that money actually makes you more of who you already are.
Yeah.
I wonder if winter for a lot of people just exacerbates more of what they already feel.
That could be.
So I started thinking back in my life, honestly, like, be transparent as somebody who's single. Like sometimes, not that you can't enjoy depending on your status, but some of my most memorable winters have been seasons where I was sharing it with someone special, and it made Christmas and the holidays and all that even more meaningful. And then I think about some of my toughest seasons at times have been winter, and those seasons where I was going through maybe it was pain or loneliness or whatever else. And I wonder if there's people listening to us that may relate to that. That's like a lot of winter can exacerbate either the joy or the pain of where they're already at.
I like that.
And so
You probably do. It makes you feel deeper.
So what would you say? What would you say to somebody that maybe they're almost dreading the cold days because of maybe the place in life they're at?
Right.
I mean, maybe some of what you already said will
I
apply,
don't.
but
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I think I like what you said though, which is you take it head on. It doesn't mean flip the middle finger to your feelings or whatever, but I think like I love the attitude a little bit of okay, if I feel like I have because I think if you're blue. Winter blues is like what you said. It's exaggerating it. It's causing you to feel it. I think if you feel that way, lean into some things. Lean into community.
Yeah.
It's like I think a lot of times in winter blues, people feel more internal and isolated and kind of pull back. And I wonder if even if it's not an external type of outdoor type of thing, can you lean more into that season with people and other things like that can fuel you, that can kind of feed you. I think planning things. I think we don't plan well enough.
Yeah, that's good.
I think we don't plan even a trip or something like even that like you said a trip out to LA to visit your sister. That's a great way to do it. Wouldn't be real expensive. You have your flight, but you have a place to stay, all that kind of stuff. But having something to look forward to is like it's a part of hope.
Yeah.
Hope is looking into the future
Yeah.
with something, anticipating something that's going to happen, something good.
Yeah.
My wife's kind of this way just in general. It doesn't matter what season when it comes to vacation. When we have a vacation planned, when it's done, she's ready to plan the next one, even if it's a year later. And she'll be in, like we don't have anything, I mean, we don't have concrete plans. We have a lot of things up in the air for this coming summer. But she'll I guarantee, very soon, she'll be saying, we don't have anything planned. We don't have anything planned.
Right.
We got to plan something. We don't have something planned. I think for me, part of what I enjoy, even about vacation things, is I've said this before, just as much the anticipation of it.
Yeah.
Like doing it is fun, but it goes so fast. But I love this, like 2 weeks till I go,
Planning and
1
dreaming.
week till I go. And there's something about that. I think hope
Yeah, that's
That
good.
you can be in any season, and it can be dark, and it can be dreary, but you need something to hope for. And I think, when you're in winter, it's really hard. I mean, it's like you want spring or the sunshine or something to hope for. You don't have to wait until March or April to do that.
That's
Plan
good.
something, but I think in order to do that, you have to mentally, you have to financially, you have to plan for it.
Yeah.
So you have to go. You have to begin to notice yourself and notice.
Yeah.
And I think it does take time to
No,
notice
that's
that
good.
about yourself. To
Create
notice that about it
hope.
and literally create. I'm going to put things on the calendar. End of
Yeah.
January, I'm going to do that. If I can, I'm going to do it quick. I'll drive. I'm going to drive south. I got a friend that's down there in March.
Yeah.
It won't cost me as much money. I'm going to drive. I got someone to stay with
Yeah.
for 3 days. You go to Raleigh, visit your friend. You know, things like that bring
Yeah.
fun and
Yeah.
inspiration. Plan fun.
Yeah. I think that's
Even in
great.
the middle of winter, plan fun.
I think, would you agree? I think if you're in a tough season approaching the winter days, you need to be in community.
Yeah.
You need to create hope. And I would also say you need to find a way to create purpose.
Yeah, that's
Like
good
what's something
that.
you can lean into?
Ooh,
like,
that's good.
hey, while I'm inside, I mean, for me, a lot of times, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna do this, or I'm going to work on. I don't know. Maybe there's a character thing you want to work on, or go get in the gym and you're gonna knock that out, or you're
Go to one of the serve opportunities we have.
Serve
Go serve it
opportunities.
down at Stowe Mission. Go serve at one of the places we do. Like sign up for that kind of stuff for
take
the
some
new year.
classes at night towards
Yeah.
something that you want to start dabbling in, a profession or a side hobby or whatever it may be. Learn a new trade. Learn a
Yeah.
I mean, have a stack of books. I'm gonna get through these books.
Yeah.
that
Give
I'm gonna-
yourself something to.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there and like every day is the same thing and it's just miserable and you know that. Give
Yeah.
yourself something to. I think it's actually a cool idea to look at your life seasonally. I don't know. I don't know that we always do that. We do. We look at other, like when you're a parent, you look at rhythms around school, summer, this and that.
Yeah.
But I think even thinking seasonally is kind of a new or a unique, fresh way to think about your own life.
Yes.
What would January to March, if you're here and the weather's this and it gets dark early and it's cold and you're inside a lot, what can I do January to March that would be important? Like if you want to feel like I accomplished something, okay, sometimes what we'll try to do is say, hey, what's a house project that's inside?
Yep. I
Oh,
love it.
want to tackle, like reorganize the basement. Oh, I want to do this because it does get harder. I'll tell you one thing you get a reprieve of if you own a house, right? You own a house, there's all kinds of maintenance. There's mowing the grass. In the spring, you're doing it twice a week. There's weeding. There's keeping up with the exterior stuff. One nice thing about the winter is you don't do that.
Yep. It's true.
You're not mowing the grass. You're not weeding.
Yeah.
You're not spending that time. I like that stuff when the weather's nice, being outside. It feels great. I'm all for it. But now you have extra time. What can you do with the extra time? If you don't plan it, you'll waste it.
I love your idea of like, because I'll do this with some seasons, not with others, but write out some vision. Hey, in this season, sometimes I'll write out a verse. Here's my verse for this season.
Yeah, that's
Here's a
cool.
theme for this season. Here's a word for this season. Here's some goals and prayers for this season.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
I just realized
that.
since you mentioned this, I keep a hope list on my phone, but I also
I like hope.
started. Me too. I also started this thing literally fall winter 2023.
Yeah.
And so I have some ones I haven't knocked off for September yet, but I had multiple things like I literally had on this. It was a running list that I could check off, and one of the things I put because I realized how much I missed live baseball, and so I've started doing that the last few years.
yeah.
So I
You went to a
put
Clippers game.
I went to 3 more Clippers games. I actually put that on my September. Hit 3 more Clippers games.
I love them.
I-
They're over now.
I put Greenville for my birthday. I put run a 10K. I actually did
Oh,
that.
you did it?
I did it. I put
Wait. Like an actual 10K race, or you just did 10K?
I just
Why
did it.
don't you do a 10K race?
I should do that at some point. October, I put Pumpkin Festival fairs. I don't know why, but just randomly, I put Chick-fil-A breakfast one Saturday morning. Just
Ooh,
I
my
put
wife would like that.
I mean, I just put several things. November, I'm traveling at the end of this month and in November, so I put
Yeah, you got trips.
But yeah, I agree. Like keep something on your phone of each month. I'm gonna here's some things that that would fill my tank in October that I could do. Fill my tank in November. Fill my tank in December.
Accomplishing things, if depending on who you are. I never used to be a list person. My wife was. In my later years that I've been alive here, I've really lists help me feel productive.
Yeah.
So I go in there. What are all the things I need to do? I got to clean my office. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I put it on there. And there's just something about checking them off. That's that type thing. Oh, it feels good to check that off, right?
Right.
Maybe do that kind of stuff in the winter. I
Right.
think New Year is a great time to I know it seems weird about going to the gym. I love that there's not a lot competing.
Yeah.
I feel like every January, February is when I'm the most motivated to be healthy.
Well, and I just think too,
great
like, I mean, I mentioned it already, but if mental health can suffer the most in the winter months, then those are probably the months that we need to eat the healthiest and exercise the most. So we underestimate what we put in our bodies, how that affects our mood and our mindsets and our health, and then affects our exercise. I mean, the studies are endless on what that does for your dopamine and depression and moods and stabilization of your mental clarity. So anyways,
those are good.
Maybe we've kind of
almost talked ourselves into winter. I'm excited.
Yeah. We put together maybe
I'm excited for winter.
An assembled toolkit for anybody that might be getting ready to walk into winter blues and into the winter. So
I think this is great. It does. It gets me kind of excited about the season because I think of what I'm not competing with. I do think I found it is way harder to eat well in the summer and fall. I mean, there's just so many fun things to go do. There was a season, I'm not going to lie, this is why I was bad. There was a season where at one point in the early summer when my daughter was working at an ice cream shop where, it's like, oh, you want to go visit Audrey? Let's go visit Audrey. Where I think I went 4 days in a row to get ice cream. And so there's something about the summer and it's late and it's really warm. You want to go get ice cream, whereas maybe we do that less and, you're cooking home because you don't want to go out in the cold, so you're not going out to eat as much. So you're going to cook at home a little bit more and you can be a little healthier. So I think that we just went through a whole lot of, I think, great ideas. So if you not thought about any of those, maybe take some time to sit down and begin to plot out how am I going to map out the winter? How am I going to address these things? If you do, I bet you'll see it with a different mindset.
I love it.
That's good.
Let's leverage each season.
Yeah.
All right. It's been fun. Let us know. And if you got any tips, let us know. So until next time, we'll see you next week.